If you're in the military or a veteran and you've never made $1 online and you're overwhelmed by all the conflicting information and your family needs more stability, this is exactly what I would do. I would not start dropshipping. I would not build an agency. I would not become an influencer or gamble my remaining savings on some complicated business model. I would learn one skill and plug it into a business where the money is already moving. And then I would follow 4 simple steps. Build the roadmap, land my first offer where I can make real money. I'd improve in that one skill and then surround myself with people who are already doing it so I don't need to reinvent the wheel. This is not passive income, it's not emergency money, and nobody can guarantee what you will earn. But if I had 0 online experience, if I had people depending on me, and I had no room to waste another year bouncing between opportunities, this is the exact path that I would take. And pay very close attention to the placement step, because that is exactly where most online programs end. They teach you the skill, but they never show you how to connect that to a legitimate company that can actually pay you for your results. So let me show you the 4-step path. And look, you probably do not have a work ethic problem. You are in the military. They taught you that. You already know how to wake up when you do not want to. You know how to follow a process. You know how to operate under pressure and how to get something done because other people are depending on you. The problem is that every time you look online, somebody is trying to point you towards a different vehicle. One person says e-commerce. Another says crypto. One says Amazon FBA. Another says start an agency. One says build a personal brand and post 3 times per day until strangers on the internet decide to hand you cash and decide you are important. Every option sounds convincing for about 10 minutes, and then you hear the next person. You start second guessing yourself and you close your phone with more information but less direction. That is the real problem. You are not lazy. You just don't have a clear path forward, because even in the military, they had SOPs. They told you what to do, they had requirements, they told you where to be, and let me guess, you did it, right? This is no different. Now you just have information without a chain of command, you have effort without a target, and ambition without a clear next mission. And when you have a spouse, kids, bills, or anybody else relying on you, confusion no longer feels like curiosity and starts to feel like danger. So you either stay in a job that you already know you do not want, or you panic and gamble money on a business model that you barely understand. I personally would do neither. If my family needed stability, my first rule would be simple. Do not create a new emergency trying to escape the old one. Keep the paycheck, keep the benefits, and keep the runway that you already have while you build the skill. I learned that after wasting countless hours trying to become an entrepreneur before I had one skill that the market would consistently pay me for. I served 6 years in the Air Force as an air traffic controller in the military. It gave me discipline, it gave me structure, it gave me composure, the ability to follow a process and perform under pressure. But when I started looking at making money online, I did what most people do. I tried everything: real estate, drop shipping, affiliate marketing, Amazon FBA, SMMA, crypto. I kept moving from one business model to the next because I thought making money online meant I had to own the entire business. And while none of those models are automatically bad, the problem is that I was trying to learn the product, the marketing, lead generation, sales, operation, and fulfillment all at the same time. I was trying to become the entire machine before I knew how to operate one valuable part of it. Then I got around people who were actually making money online and found remote high ticket sales. And what clicked was not some guru in a Lambo or Miami penthouse. It was the simplicity of the model and meeting someone in real life who is actually doing it. Because there's already established businesses with a product. They have customers, they have marketing, they have the leads coming in, they have systems and fulfillment dialed. They just need disciplined people who are able to come in, talk to those leads, ask skilled questions, follow up, book appointments, and help qualified people make decisions. I did not need to invent another product or even reinvent the wheel. I needed to become valuable inside of a system where the money was already moving. That one shift eventually allowed me to sell across multiple niches, working with companies and people like Brian Tracy, and even building and scaling my own business. But the important part is that I did not start there. I started by learning one skill, landing one role, earning one commission, and getting proof that I could actually create an income online. And here's the belief I would adopt if I were starting over. Making money online does not require owning a business. Online describes where the work happens. It does not mean you need a Shopify store. It does not mean you need an audience or employees or ad spend or inventory or a logo you spent 3 days designing instead of actually making money. You could just enter an established company and solve expensive problems for them, for people who've already spent the years leading up to that figuring it out for you. And once you're in, you can learn from them. And from there, your options are endless. For the type of company I would look to target, the offer would already need to exist. The marketing would already need to be attracting attentions. Leads would already need to be entering their pipeline. They would need to have a CRM, scripts, a sales process in place with other people who are making the kind of money that you want to be making, working on the same offer. And then of course, people who will fulfill the product for you after it is sold. Your job will just be to learn how to ask the right questions to these warm leads who are booking in on your calendar to speak and learn more. And of course, it is still work. It takes training, it takes time. You will have people telling you no, you will get feedback, and your income can fluctuate, especially on commission. But compared to trying to launch an entire business from zero, you are removing a massive amount of variables. You are not asking, how do I build everything? And you are instead asking, how do I become valuable at this one thing? So stop trying to own the machine before you even know how to operate the fucking thing. Now let me make this vehicle painfully simple for you. An established company sells high-ticket items or services that could be consulting, coaching, education, software, professional services, ghostwriting books, somewhere where someone would need to speak with a person before buying. And the business owner will generate leads through creating content, paid ads, referrals, partnerships, or some sort of outbound marketing. From there are normally two entry points: appointment setting and closing. As an appointment setter, you'd speak with warm inbound leads either through the text or DMs of the business owner's account in order to book an appointment for your sales team. As a closer, you then take the calls with these warm inbound leads. You'd ask questions and collect payment. From there, your job is done and the company will deliver on the product or service for you, which means no cold calling, no finding your own leads, no pushy or sleazy sales tactics, no trying to sell to your friends or push some MLM or pyramid scheme. And if I had zero experience, I would start by learning appointment setting because it gives you more conversations, it teaches you how buyers think, it lets you build proof before taking on the responsibility of closing. And then as your skill improves, you can move into closing, leadership, or even a stronger offer that sells a higher price item, meaning less sales, and more commission, meaning more money in your pocket. And the reason that this fits military and veterans so perfectly is because the military gives you the part that most companies struggle to teach their setters and closers. You understand processes, you could be coached, you know how to repeat a task until it becomes automatic, you stay composed when a conversation becomes uncomfortable, you understand accountability, and you know how to show up daily even when it is not convenient. And while those traits are exactly what these online business owners are looking for and puts you way ahead of your competition, which half the time are kids who barely graduated from high school, you still have to learn the skill of remote sales. You still need to listen, you need to ask good questions, take feedback without getting defensive, you need to review your mistakes, role play the weak parts, and then do it again and again and again. And now let's talk about the 4-step path, beginning with the roadmap. Not another folder with 200 hours of videos, not 17 different business models, but one clear sequence showing me what to learn, what to practice, what good looks like, and what I need to do. First, I would just learn the fundamentals of appointment setting and ethical sales conversations. I would learn how to qualify a lead, how to ask good questions, how to follow up, how to use CRM, how to handle basic objections, and how to move a conversation towards a clear next step. Then I would role play, because you do not learn sales by quietly watching somebody else. You learn by opening your mouth, sounding like an idiot, receiving feedback, correcting it, and then repeating the process until the conversation feels natural. The roadmap should of course also fit around your life. For example, if I were working and supporting a family, I would block consistent training time before work, after work, or after the kids are asleep. And I would much rather complete one focus hour 5 days per week than 8 hours of half-assed work on a Sunday and then disappear for the rest of the month. The only goal of the roadmap is clarity on what I'm learning, what I'm practicing, what the standard is, and what is the exact next step. Second, I would connect the skill to a legitimate opportunity. And this is the part that most people underestimate, because knowing how to sell does not matter if nobody knows you exist, and finishing training does not automatically make a good company trust you with its leads. So I would position myself as a strong candidate, which means translating my military experience into business value, into building a clean resume and profile, and recording a direct introduction video while preparing for interviews and being able to demonstrate this skill through roleplay. Then I would look for the right company. Not simply the first company willing to call something high ticket, but I would verify that the offer solves a real problem. I would look for customer proof, consistent lead flow, clear fulfillment, a functioning CRM, defined expectations, coaching, and a compensation agreement in writing. I would ask what happens after a sale, how the leads are generated, how performance is measured, when commissions are paid, and whether refunds or chargebacks affect how much money you make. Then I would apply, interview, role play, follow up, and keep improving my positioning until I landed the right role. Third, once I landed a role, I would stop thinking that the work was finished, because the first role is where the real education begins. I would track the numbers that I can control, from conversations started, follow-ups completed, appointments booked, show rate, close rate, and collected revenue. I would review messages and call recordings with somebody who is better than me, and I would identify one weakness at a time, fix it, measure whether the number improved, and go from there, because you cannot improve what you do not track. Then after I had real proof that I could take on more responsibility, I'd move from setting into closing. I'd earn leadership opportunities or qualify for a stronger offer. I would not jump companies every 2 weeks looking for a magical compensation plan. I would become undeniable at the skill first. Fourth, I would make sure that I was not doing this alone. I'd surround myself with other veterans who are learning the same skill, role play partners who actually show up, coaches who review the work, and people who can point me towards legitimate opportunities. Not fake networking and a group chat full of motivational quotes, but instead somebody who notices when you disappear, tells you when your approach is shit, celebrates the first win, and helps you get back to work after rejection. So if I were a veteran starting out with zero online experience and my family needed stability, I would not try to create 5 different income streams. I would protect the stability I already had. I would learn one valuable skill, and then I would plug that skill into a legitimate business where the infrastructure already exists. Then I would follow a roadmap so I know exactly what to do at each step of the process. I would get help with placement, so the skill connected to a real opportunity. And then I would scale through coaching, measurement, and repetition. And finally, I would surround myself with veterans who understand the mission and refuse to let me disappear when process became uncomfortable. Your family does not need you to become an overnight entrepreneur. They need you to stop changing direction. They need you to choose a legitimate path and then stay with it long enough to become valuable. If this sounds like the kind of path that you've been looking for, then DM me the word path on Instagram and tell me which part of the process that you need the most clarity on. Talk to you soon.